Hello, for Science Today, we're going to finish up our shadows unit. So your objectives say we will look at our shadows from the morning, middle of the day, and the afternoon, and I will compare my shadows and discuss how they change or look different throughout the day and why. So the first picture I just wanted to show you, this is a little boy who did this experiment at home. He did a little more observation than we did, but what he did is he stood in the same spot throughout the day at different times, and he drew a rough silhouette of his shadow and just what it looked like. So he started really early in the morning, and his shadow right here was really short, so it's the blue outline. It was really short and skinny. Then he went inside, did his stuff, came back out at 11 in the morning, and drew his shadow again. His shadow already changed. This shadow looks taller than this one, and this one at 11 looks a little bit wider. He went inside, did his stuff, came back out again a little bit later on around 1 p.m. or around lunchtime. And then he did his shadow again, and it's the red outline. His shadow has already changed. So it looks like it's going from skinny to a little bit wider, skinnier and taller. And then he went inside, did his stuff just like you all do your work, hang out, and he came back out again around 3:30 p.m. and his shadow changed again. So this picture just shows a little boy doing the experiment at home, and his shadows did change throughout the day. They went from shorter to taller, from skinnier to wider, and every time he observed his shadow a few hours apart, it looked different. So you all should have done something similar to this at home, except for you submitted your pictures to me. And why did this shadow change? Why did his shadow change? Why did your shadow at home change? Shadows move during the day, and here's an example. It says, watch the shadow of the stick to tell the time like a sundial. So this is just another example of how shadows can change. So someone stuck a stick in the ground and they made a line to show how long the shadow was at different times throughout the day. So at 6 a.m., really early in the morning when you first wake up, the shadow of the stick was super long. And that's because the sun in the sky was at a different position during that part of the day. So as the hours go by in a day, as time changes, the sun moves from one spot in the sky to another spot, and it keeps moving throughout the day. That's why we have a sunrise and a sunset, okay? The sun comes up one direction and moves throughout the day and goes down in the other. And because of the movement of the sun, it makes the shadow look different, either longer or shorter, or it's pointing one way or pointing the other way. And I know this can be a bit confusing, so what I did is I put a video for you guys to watch that kind of helps it all to make sense. So this video is called Following the Sun, and I want you to watch it and look at the shadows and how they change. And it even tells you why they change. And for your exit ticket today, you're going to click here and complete this Google form. And there are a few questions. First, type your first and last name so we know who did the work. Did your shadow change throughout the day? Was it different in the morning than it was around lunchtime? So if your shadow did change and look different, hit yes. If your shadow did not change and look different in all three pictures, morning, middle of the day, afternoon, if they all look the same, then hit no. Why did your shadow change? Do you think your shadow looked different at different times of the day because you were shrinking and growing throughout the day? So in the morning, you woke up and you were really small. In the middle of the day, you grew a little bit, and at the end of the day, you were super tall. So do you think your shadow is changing because your body's changing? Or do you think your shadow was changing because the sun was moving in the sky, which made your shadow look a little bit different because the sun was moving? And down at the bottom, did you like learning about shadows, yes or no? And when you're done, hit the submit button. I hope you guys liked learning about your shadows. You don't have to remember every detail, but do remember that shadows are made by a light source. Something has to be blocking the light source, and shadows do change throughout the day because the sun is moving.